you, thank you.
Maybe. I don't know if I can.
Okay.
Can you type sound?
I'm on.
Type sound.
Uh-oh.
Just want to make sure. All right, you're good.
All right. Hi there. Welcome to Real Talk with Angry Soccer Mom. I'm losing my mind. Today I'm in glasses, so if you don't recognize me, it's still me. I can't see very well, but hopefully I'll be able to see later when I get my real glasses. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. If you are here, please say hello, because the show is really meant to be your voice, not just me blabbing, although I do tend to blab. This week's discussion topics, don't even get me started. They are, I worked up to the last second for breaking news, and I think you're going to want to hear some of this stuff. But they're anything that you feel is newsworthy about racism, bigotry, inequality, and corruption in America. And right now, I'm going to say, easy for me to say, that's everything. The show is meant to be a place where viewers can speak their mind, but also to serve as an educational tool for white folks to learn the truth about systemic racism in America. And again, the show includes inequality, corruption, which is like out of control, like I need to say that, and anti-racism and anti-bigotry. So pretty much it's every subject. Welcome, RGF Town. I'm happy to have you here. Thanks for being here. I just want to thank everybody initially for sending me tons of important breaking news because I can't keep up. If you want to call in at some point, I have a phone number. Tonight's topics I have planned are like ludicrously out of control. And that's why I'm so hyper right now, because it's crazy. I think we're really in trouble. I'm just saying. I don't want to be the soothsayer of doom. And again, I'm not a political expert by any means. But I have been watching, keeping my eyes open for a while, and it's not looking so great. My topics is Trump planning a coup? And when I say coup, I don't mean like the kind you see at another country, but basically I kind of do. So I'll just take that back. I want to talk about the next 70 days, Trump's plan. I think a lot of us may have been under the impression that the next couple, months will be just like, whew, we got Biden. Now let's see what the heck he's going to do. What is he going to do? I get the feeling this might be the kind of beginning of the end, so to speak, or at least a very, very rough start. Anastasia, welcome. Thanks for being here. I hope you chime right in because we got a lot going on. So my topics are, is Trump planning a coup? The next 70 days of Trump's plan, why people follow him without even questioning, Trump's traditional things rules that Trump broke that we might have thought were laws. Are we safe during this presidential transition? Can Trump overturn the election? And draining the real swamp. And the last one I have a lot of topics to get over. So I'm going to try to talk really fast. In social media, is social media's power endangering America? I'm going to say yes. Okay, we don't need to do that one now. But anyway, I hope you can hear me well. I want you to jump right in anytime. And I'm going to get started. Is Trump planning a coup? And obviously a coup in 2020 in a supposed democratic republic, oligarchy, call it what you want, might not look like a coup you read about in your little book or you saw in the movies. I don't know. I'm not an expert for one, and I have no clue. But I have looked to experts for this show. So just to give a quick disclaimer, that's what I'll call it, a disclaimer. Most of the stuff in today's show is not my own opinion. It is the opinion of some expert people, which I will cite often, and hopefully you will get interested. The first person I would like to say is, I did not read this book, but I've read a couple articles from her. It's Anne Applebaum, and she wrote this lovely book called Twilight of Democracy. The seductive lure of authoritarianism. The seductive lure. And I think she's pretty much an expert on the subject, it would seem. I've read some of her articles over the past 2 days. Okay, some of them maybe 5 times each. And she seems to know what she's talking about. She seems really smart, and I think she got this. And it's scary because some of the stuff that she's talking about is scary. Get TV News One, welcome. Thanks for being here. So I'm going to jump right in and ask: Is Trump planning a coup? What's going on here? Well, for that to answer some of that question, I'll let you decide. You tell me. I'm not going to answer for you. Hell if I know. It definitely doesn't look very pretty what's going on right now. According to Robert Reich, who is wonderful, wonderfully intelligent, and also he was a Berkeley professor. He worked in a number of administrations. He's just an incredibly great guy. And I'll just read a quote from him basically from the internet. Robert Reich says, and this is yesterday, I believe, the reason the Justice Department has a longstanding policy of keeping prosecutors out of elections and the Defense Department of keeping the military out of domestic politics is the same, to avoid even the appearance of a coup. It looks like Trump is revoking both. Take that for what it is. This is a guy who has worked in our government for decades. Highly professional, Berkeley professor, and I believe him. What I'm about to tell you next came out of a recent Reuters article. And I had heard about this, but I didn't get the details. And now I have the details. And you guys, I really feel like you need to know this, what's going on. Let me see. Entertainment news name you like. Are you entertainment news name you like? Yes. Are you asking if I like your new name? Wait, ask it again. I think that's what you're asking. Global Entertainment. Dave, welcome. Thanks for being here. No, I have never worn glasses before. In fact, in my whole life. So this is the debut for my horrible glasses. And the only problem is I can't see very well out of them. So it's so scary. I'm getting new ones. Long story. Anyway, thank you. That's very kind of you. Get TV News. Tell me again what your question is, because I think you're asking me if I like your new name, which I absolutely do, but I don't know how to answer the wrong question. All right. So what I'm about to tell you right now is from Reuters, and it was just out today. At least the details were, they said Trump set up a website to solicit money for the official election defense fund. And they're using the term "stop the steal." Now that was out for a while, but what may not be too ordinary news, but a lot of people might not know, is his followers think they're giving money towards the presidential election, but not so fast. No, not so fast. In reality, any donation, if you read the fine print, under $8,300, I know, I'm planning on giving $1 million, whereas obviously most people will give like a few dollars. So in reality, any donation under $8,300 does not go to that fund. So it's, I don't want to shock you, but corruption, the small print that no one usually reads, talks about something a little different. The first $5,000 of every donation go to a political action committee of Trump's. So if you donate less than $5,000, all your money goes to a fund that Trump can use for travel, meals, hotels, entertainment, and also to fund his own political agenda. So you'd have to, you basically have to donate over $8,300 in order to get any money to the actual defense fund. Now, I think this is really important because his followers are basically completely, entirely falling for this over and over and over. So it's horrible. I don't know what to say. To me, this sounds like Trump's raising money for the little coup that he's going to pull off, or anything else he wants to do with it. In other words, this money is not going to any election. This money's going into his pocket. Ooh, big shock. So if this next part doesn't make you think Trump's going to be a nightmare for many years to come, I'll tell you what I'm calling it. The title of it is The Next 70 Days of Living Hell from Trump. And I think, yeah, Anastasia, it's a slush fund. Absolutely. It is a slush fund. So I look like a teacher. I know that's so funny. I can't see very well, but I can see a little better. They're not the right prescription. But yes, I've never actually worn these as a teacher, but I won't get into what I think, but thank you. Jamie, welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Anastasia, the coup began with citizens united. Amen to that. Reaganomics and when corporations became people. Oh my God. Bow down to you. Yes, please come on the show. What the Trump's doing, grifting and upholding white supremacy, nothing out of the norm. Yep, this is his MO. It's what he does, and none of it's by accident. And the author of this book, oh my God, I'm in love. I'll put it right up there. I read a couple articles, like I said earlier. I said that just after I named all the things that we're going to talk about tonight. And this, honestly, these are the most scary topics I think I've ever come to the show with. So bear with me while I chatter. And this is kind of scary. Timothy, yay! Oh my gosh. One One. Good point. Yay. I'm so happy you guys are here. So jump in. I'm going to start with the Anne Applebaum, the person who wrote this book, The Twilight of Democracy. The full title is Twilight of Democracy, The Seductive Lure of Authoritarianism. And let me tell you, she seems right on. I mean, in a very scary way. Thanks, Tim, for letting me know. I'm just happy to have you here. And Gary, welcome. Get TV News One. All this seems to be doing is nonsense. All you have to do is just wait till the tallied votes are in and then he's out. Well, I think that's a lovely way to think about it. But what I do is I usually look towards experts. I look towards the experts. And the experts are saying, oh no. And I sure hope you're right. But I get the feeling that I believe Trump is planning a legal coup. RGF Town 1. Exactly. He is circumventing the Constitution, circumventing the traditions that many of us thought were probably laws. And I think we're screwed. And I mean, I'm not hoping we are, but I just, with all due respect, all you have to do is wait till the votes are tallied and then he's out. I wish. I don't think so. I hope so, but that would be a very, very best case scenario. And according to the expert, that's not really what's happening right now. So I'm going to take a quick drink and I will read you what Anne Applebaum says, who is an expert. It's just water. Don't worry. Although I don't drink, but now might be a good time to start. The next chapter is called The Next 70 Days, Trump's Plan. Dan, welcome. Oh my gosh, I'm psyched you're here. Jump in anytime. I'm going to try to speed through this because this is a lot, but extremely important. According to this Anne Applebaum book, person who wrote the book, The Twilight of Democracy, The Seductive Lure of Authoritarianism. Trump will not accept defeat ever, according to her. And his forever campaign is just getting started. The following is a direct quote from an article she wrote for The Atlantic. I've read it probably 4 times. While you watch Donald Trump's presidency stagger to its ugly end, always keep in mind how it began. Trump entered the political world on the back of the birther conspiracy theory. You guys remember that? A movement whose importance was massively underestimated at the time. I know I did. According to Applebaum's article, and I quote, aside from its racist undertones, if you doubt that Barack Obama was born in the United States, and about a third of our nation did, including 72% of registered Republicans, then that means you also believe that his presidency was an illegitimate one. So keep that in mind. This is Anne Applebaum's take, and she is an expert. Applebaum says that basically this means that you believe that everyone, including the entire American political, judicial, media establishment, including the White House and Congress and federal courts and FBI, all of them were complicit in a giant plot to swindle the public into accepting this false commander-in-chief. And this lady, this is what she does for a living. And this is her take. And boy, it sure makes sense to me. According to her article, a third of Americans have so little faith in the American democracy, broadly defined, that they're willing to think that Obama's entire presidency was a fraud. And she's doing this on stats. This is not like just her, opinion. She's an academic. This 1/3 of America are now Trump's base. And he's been feeding them lies for 4 years straight. They may not believe, according to Applebaum, everything she says, but they figure, who cares if the president is a serial liar? I mean, everyone's been doing it. They likely believe that all American politicians are corrupt. Then, so what if the president is too? And that's her take on why they blindly follow. And there's much more. So if everyone's breaking the rules left and right, then why can't Trump do it? Her article goes on to say so much more. And I'm going to get to questions in a little bit because this is crazy. She says, no wonder they didn't object when Trump's White House defied Congress's subpoenas with impunity. They basically ignored them. Or when he used the Department of Justice to pursue his own personal vendetta. Remember that? Or when he ignored ethics guidelines and rules about security clearances, his son and daughter, or when he fired watchdogs and inspector generals. She goes on to say, no wonder they cheered him on when he denigrated our own CIA and said the State Department was deep state, or laughed and smiled when he called our own journalists enemies of the people. This is scary stuff. The point Applebaum makes, and I quote, many Americans have lost trust in the democratic institutions long before Trump arrived on the scene. According to her article, one survey showed that half of the country is dissatisfied with our political system. 1/5 told pollsters, and this was shocking, that they'd be happy to live under a military rule. Okay, maybe they don't know what a military rule is, but nevertheless, that's what she says. Applebaum believes Trump exploited this democratic deficit. Welcome, Mario. And exploited this democratic deficit where people do not believe in our government. But he expanded it with his office, and now his political, financial, and maybe even emotional strategy requires him to damage America's faith in our democracy even further. And that is clearly his agenda. According to Applebaum, Trump is launching that strategy right now as we speak. She says, to be clear, it is a strategy. Now, I, for one, always like to think that he's just a total moron doing whatever, this, that, and the other. But according to this author and expert in the field, Twilight of Democracy, the seductive lure of authoritarianism, like I can say that, she is an academic expert in the field. And she says, to be sure, this is a strategy, not a random reaction to events. Trump's no good at governing, she goes on to say, but he is long understood with the intuition of a seasoned con man, which, all right, how to create distrust and how to use that distrust to his advantage. In fact, Anne Applebaum quotes in one of her articles that Leslie Stahl had once said to her that he attacks the media to, and this is a quote, to discredit you all and demean you all, so when you write negative stories about me, no one will believe you. And that's very, very evident in what I've seen over the past years. He discredited and demeans public servants, such as the National Security Council staffer Fiona Hill and Alexander Vidman, too. And it was just so mean what he did to him. It was horrible what he did to a decorated military person who's been there for years. So that when they spoke honestly and candidly, putting their everything on the line about his behavior, no one would believe them. This is a strategy. Now, this is not my strategy. This is the strategy of this author who is amazing. She's a professional in the field. She knows what she's talking about. And this has been said by other people. But now, she goes on to say, having spent months talking darkly about the rules of being rigged against him, and that he's laid out these set of traps designed to discredit and demean the electoral system so that some Americans at least will continue to lose their faith in it. And that is his plan. And by God, he is doing it. This has been said by a lot of other people, but this is what she's saying. She goes with it. She went on to say that Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan did not finish counting their votes on Tuesday night, and it was no accident. It was absolutely purposeful, which a lot of us probably already knew, but she kind of puts things together really well. I'm in awe of this lady. In these states, Republican legislators prevented their election boards from counting postal votes before the election. They weren't allowed to count the votes in a timely manner. Some of the states had to start after the election was over completely. So this is insane. The Democrats, who obviously take the pandemic more serious than Republicans do overall, himself told his followers that voting by mail was suspect, even though he's done it himself many times. The partisan gap between in-person and postal voters was, always going to be huge. And it actually was, like Trump expected and planned for, according to Ann Applebaum's articles. And her article goes on to say, so Trump anticipated that the votes tally might begin to shift in Biden's favor after they were counted at the end. And basically, these are my words, making it look like what's going on here. I'll explain. The state Republican governments purposely did that. They could have not done that. They could have started counting right away, but this was the plan. And that's why he spoke at 2 a.m. on election. I don't know if you guys were up. I was up for it because the results weren't even remotely clear. He declared the vote a fraud on the American public. Completely contrived. Completely contrived. And announced that we don't want them to find any ballots at 4 a.m. in the morning and then add them to the list. He said this knowing very well that he set this up. He knew that these states that were possibly going to, be the states that really, really mattered, he knew that they couldn't count votes until the next day, some of them. So, this is total bullshit. He's full of shit. This is all planned out. And again, it's not my opinion, although I absolutely believe every word she says. It's hers. That's why Republicans had already launched a rash of frivolous lawsuits designed to create the appearance that something was going terribly wrong. One case alleged fraud in Montana. You've seen all the lawsuits, had been thrown out for lack of any evidence whatsoever. Trevor Potter, the president of the nonprofit campaign Legal Center and the general counselor for John McCain's 2000 and 2008 presidential campaign, told me, and this is her words, that one of the Pennsylvania suits is laughable. All the others are just probing on soft spots, using different legal avenues to slow down the count or to get ballots thrown out in any manner possible. Well, the next section I'm going to read you is entitled, Welcome to Election Purgatory Again. This is carefully planned out strategy, not a temper tantrum, and it may have several stages. She goes on to say the first stage will take the form of a Hail Mary pass, a brazen and illegal attempt to stay in office despite the fact that all major networks and national papers have called the race for Biden, and he actually kind of won the race. He got the electorate vote. He did it. As my colleague Barton Gelman has written, she goes on to say, both the rhetoric and the flurry of ridiculous lawsuits are intended to create a misleading impression of electoral fraud so deep that Republican state legislatures would even be tempted to ignore the ballots and simply appoint an electoral college delegation to vote for Trump. And I read another article on why that's not going to probably happen, written by experts, but I'm not going to get into it at this second because this is a lot. I'm almost done, and then I want to know what you think. So bring it on. The head of the Pennsylvania Republican Party mentioned this as one of his options, talking about actually appointing electoral college delegates. I don't know what he's trying to do. Although the Republican majority leader of the state Senate explicitly shot this down, this is like unheard of. But even if Trump's Hail Mary pass quickly fizzles, even if his attempt to stay in the White House is drowned out by the reality that the votes and the tsunami of like, hello, Biden won, the headlines, that doesn't mean Trump will admit that the election was fair. And it doesn't mean he ever will admit that it's fair. Trump, if Trump is forced to make a begrudging concession speech, even if Biden is sworn in as president on January 20th, even if Trump's family is forced to pack up its, now I'm not going to pronounce this right, Louis Vuitton suitcases. I guess those are like fashion suitcases. I don't know a thing about pop culture or fashion. I mean, hello, look at me. And flee to his Mar-a-Lago. It is in Trump's best interest for everything that's up against him right now, and the part interest of the Republican Party to maintain the fiction that the election was stolen. Just water. That's because the same base, the base that distrusts American democracy and loves Trump and doesn't care what he says and doesn't care if they're lying, could still be extremely useful to Trump, as well as the Republican Party in the coming years. So this is what she's saying, and this is the plan she spells out. Certainly, these voters can be used to discredit and demean the Biden presidency. They can be used, and this is me, they can be used to basically discredit everything. We got 1/3 of our people in the United States who believe anything this madman says, this wannabe dictator. Just as Trump, and this is back to her writing, just as Trump once helped convince millions of Americans that Obama was an illegitimate president, so he will now seek to convince Americans that Biden is an illegitimate president. Biden is fake. Facebook groups will be used to gin up Republican votes and support for Republican causes. Email with phony Biden in the subject line will be used to raise money. If you were here earlier when I talked about the topics that I had planned for tonight, I told you about a Reuters article that this has already started and it's underway. The article I referenced was an article where Trump has started a false fundraiser where people think they're giving money to make the election, to help with recount of the entire election. Oh, no, 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 no. Later, if you have time, roll back in this video. I take about 2 minutes to explain. Unless you're really, really wealthy and going to give more than $10,000, not a cent of your money is going to this. It's going in Trump's pocket. So it is absolutely, he's a con man. Trump had it all planned out, and this is ugly. He's already started with Applebaum says Trump's campaign has already blasted out a fundraising text with the following message. President Trump and VP Pence, it's so urgent we both text you. Democrats and the fake news want to steal this election 1,000%, match to fight back, act now. He's already got this going. And according to Reuters, in the article, once again, that I mentioned above, I cited at the start, he actually is tricking his followers into giving him money. And they think it's for the election. It's for him. He's completely full of shit. Pro-Trump influencers have tried to make the hashtag stop the steal trend on social media. This is real. This is a plan. There's nothing done by accident. These next 70 or 69 days, while counting, could be unbelievable. Laura Ingraham of Fox News is already engaging and re-engaging her millions of followers by tweeting out the continued abuse of our electoral system by corrupt Democrat officials. It's all a lie. This whole thing's one fucking lie. And people don't care. They're going for it. It's categorically false. Applebaum believes other Republicans will be joining the cause because they too can raise money and attract breathless fans by indulging that latent distrust that we talked about at the beginning. So people have had it. And this is what happens when people do not believe in their democratic republic or oligarchy anymore. So it's getting ugly. And this is according to an expert. As I said earlier tonight, I will be quoting experts, because I'm not an expert in this subject. This is really specialized stuff. The newly elected senator from Alabama, the former football coach Tommy Tuberville, I don't know if I'm saying that right, has already tweeted in very folksy language that the Biden campaign is cheating. It's like the whistle's been blown and the game's over and the players have gone home, but the referees are suddenly adding touchdowns to the other team's side of the scoreboard. Okay, that's just a bullshit and lie. But you have to understand, his supporters do not care. Never mind that at the time of the tweet, the game was far from over. Tuberville set himself up to use the myth of Biden's illegitimacy. This stuff's going to work as an excuse to not cooperate with the new president, not to help pass any further pandemic legislation, not to make the coming 4 years a success for Biden or for America. Trump's doing him in, and he has a base of people who will follow him no matter what. Applebaum says the Trump family, being what it is, expects the illegitimacy myth to be exploited for commercial purposes too, and they will. Paradoxically, she goes on to say, Trump's loss may well increase the loyalty of his ardent fans who will be angry that he's been unfairly deprived of the rightful role. They'll now become loyal purchasers of Trump flags, MAGA hats, and even maybe a degree at some revived Trump university. And this is according to the author. They could become a customer base for Trump TV, a media company that will set itself up as the rival to his all brand name new enemy, Fox News. Maybe they'll buy tickets to rallies and other public events where he plays familiar old hits such as Lock Her Up or Stop the Count. He's not going anywhere unless something huge happens. The next section of her article, and it's almost done, but I told you it was a long one, but extremely important. This is from an expert in the field. Trump moves into the burn it down phase, and that's what her next part's called. And I'll try to read this fast because I know this might not be as entertaining, but absolutely extremely important. As the financial and legal pressure now bear down on Trump, the hundreds of millions of dollars he owes, the tax fraud investigation that are ongoing, DC and Southern District of New York are ready to pounce. He will need a political base more than ever, according to Ann Applebaum. Expect Trump and his children to portray any and every legitimate legal action against them as a political persecution. They're trying to get me because I'm opposed to the fake president. That's a quote. That could be something, Trump's going to say. Expect them to continue to seek headlines day after day with out-of-control press conferences carrying live on Trump TV, streamed on Facebook, featured on the front page of the New York Post. Why will this work? Well, this is what she says. The prospect of this kind of circus would be designed to put off some prosecutors. No one will want to be trolled by his millions of MAGA-bots, that's what she is calling them, or become the focus of any online or offline hate mobs. These people are sticking together. He can tell them whatever he wants, and they'll believe him. And these people are action-oriented, as you know. Above all, though, the Biden illegitimacy myth that she talks about will function as a prop for Trump's very fragile ego. Unable to cope with the loss of the presidency, unable to accept that he was beaten, Trump will now shield himself from the reality of being defeated by pretending it never happened. His personal need to live in this, and this is a quote from her articles, perpetual need to live in a fantasy world, a world where he is always winning, is so overpowering, he will do anything to maintain it. Lastly, Applebaum concludes in her article, in his narcissistic drive to create this alternative reality, he will deepen divisions, spread paranoia, and render his supporters even more fearful of their fellow citizens and distrust of their institutions. This is a president who never had America's interest at heart. Do not expect loss to change him. That's all she wrote. That was based on 2 articles from The Atlantic. And she is also, as I said before, the author of Twilight of Democracy, The Seductive Lure of Authoritarianism. This book, which I have not, embarrassingly so, begun to read. But I did read the articles about 60 times each. Okay, maybe 4 times. So let me get to some comments. That was a long one, but I really wanted you to hear what she had to say. It's the first article I've read that made my heart start pounding and me thinking, holy shit, we're going to be really screwed here. I was just, hoping we could just start working over Biden and his administration on becoming progressive and helping us to dismantle systemic racism. Silly, silly, silly me. Oh, well, I'm lucky I read a little bit at least. So bear with me. I'm going to back up and I'm going to read some comments. Womaville 1, hi Kim, miss you. Oh, I'm happy you're here if you're still here. Thank you, America, for saving democracy on November 3rd. It's exactly what we might have done, in my opinion. It gave us a chance. The other way, zero. I don't think it's a sure thing. But anyway, this stuff's crazy. I hope she's wrong. I mean, I don't think she's wrong. I mean, I tend to look to the experts and yeah. So next comments. RGF Town, like he said, I believe Trump is planning a legal coup. Yep, I think so too. Welcome, Harper. I'm happy you're here. Anastasia, Chuck Roca, I'm so bad with names, had a great interview on the Hill, and he said that the Trump team started their misinformation agenda long before Biden and the Biden team. Honestly, though, they would thought they would just get their votes. Yeah, this is a whole. So I guess what you're saying, I don't want to misquote you, Anastasia, is you agree with this woman's academic understanding and analysis of what's happening. He's really followed suit with dictators. It's according to Robert Reich, like I spoke of at the beginning. Pretty right in there. Nails and Glitter, welcome. And Dan, thanks again for being here. I hope you're still here. But now, more than ever, this is not over. Still a lot of work to do. Trump was a very bad symptom, but now you guys need to cure yourselves more than ever. Absolutely. And my big thing was this. As the simpleton that I am, I had, obviously I had to go to an expert to really, try to digest the bold, hard truth. I just thought it would be start all over, gear up, and try to dismantle systemic racism and push Biden to start doing what the people want. The people, not the politics, the people. And happy to say, if you believe it or don't, I believe most, and that's not a lot, it's most white folks probably by now get the idea that systemic racism is not good for anybody. Sadly, when we talk about most white people, I think maybe half of them don't vote. So their opinion is kind of a moot point, basically. So many people don't vote that's how Trump has such a big following. It's not because half of America is just racist as fuck, although they probably are, in my opinion. Just saying, just being real. It's the people who vote and who are adamant and who are paying attention or basically could give a shit and are just following whatever he says. So anyway, enough about me. Let's keep reading. Yeah, so you kind of, I can see you kind of, yeah, absolutely, Womobile. It's time for white folks to learn our racial history, digest it, understand it, be able to teach it, and get our asses out there and start teaching other white people. And that is so important. It is not going to come from top down. It'll be bottom up. It's not enough to just say, oh, yeah, I know what racism is, or, oh, I know what systemic racism is. It's not enough. To dismantle the essence of our nation, being nice to everybody doesn't cut it. I'm sorry. I wish it did. I try to be nice to everybody. It won't dismantle anything. I mean, it's a lovely idea, but it's not going to dismantle anything. We got to do more than just be nice and sweet. I'm sorry. This has gone too far. We have an entire system, centuries of an entire system that has the power of the elite, the white elites behind it. the wealthy. And it is not a coincidence that all of us, plain simple folk are getting poorer and the wealthy are getting wealthier. Okay. Let me keep taking comments. Anastasia, I think a majority of people of color really think we are in a post-racial, and that's why birtherism ran under the radar. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Anastasia. I really do. The people I work with who are quite, they're not, okay, I'll just say it. They're ignorant to systemic racism in their lives, or they're just starting to discover it. And I like to teach the beginning people a lot. They believe or believed that we're in a post-racial era because we had a Black president. Well, that's real lovely, or because slavery ended, or because we had 1964 Civil Rights Act. They just don't understand the depth of systemic racism, how it is in every single system we have in the US. It is our culture. In fact, it's so much our culture that when we start talking and anti-racism, we get called un-American. If you're white, and try it. If you're a white person, like I am, like really white, people say how un-American I am because systemic racism and America go together. And some people are unable to differentiate, or well, they didn't know the Constitution, or they don't understand that it's supposed to apply to everybody. I don't know. I'm not going to get into it. But right now, I thought all we'd be ready to do was to pounce with everything we have on trying to dismantle systemic racism. But it would seem that's not the whole picture, according to her article. This is, why I hope it's not true, but so far, the experts have been right. And that's really scary. Anastasia, thanks for your awesome comments. Get News TV, then what do you think will happen? He will take over the country? I think what will happen is exactly what Ann Applebaum is saying in her 2 Atlantic articles. And if you scroll back later on, it's basically his presence and the presence of his group of blind followers are more needed now than ever. What he does is he sicks them on people. He does it. He threatens people. Think about this, and this is not her. This is my take. It might be her, but this is what I think she is. I'm not quoting her. Basically, did you ever wonder when you were watching night after night these spineless wimps who are in the Senate, Republican, hearing lie after lie after lie and keeping their mouths shut? It's the epitome of zero personal integrity. I mean, I have zero respect for these people. Every night, hearing things like, I was just waiting and waiting. I was waiting actually before he was even president for someone to say, excuse me. No, this man is full of shit. He's lying, and I will not stand here and do nothing while he lies to my fellow humans. Oh no, that was never going to happen. And I waited and I waited. And it's like one of those memes people put up of a skeleton and waited and waited. I'd still be waiting right now. It's not going to happen. And I couldn't freaking figure out why. And the only conclusion I can come to is simply he has something over them. And I believe it's his clan of followers. I'm sorry. It is cult-like. It doesn't matter what he does. It doesn't matter who he lies to. It doesn't matter if he takes every cent they have, which he is trying to do actually right now with his fake fundraiser with the small print saying that he's actually, unless you give $10,000, it's all going in his pocket. That's from Reuters. And so if you're missing any of this, scroll up. You guys, he is legally, unethically circumventing the spirit of our Constitution and the laws. to do a power grab, which he's been doing all along, in order to use his people who follow him. And what he does is, what he has over the senators is quite clear. He doesn't have to say anything. He knows that if they cross him, all he has to do is one little tweet. And guess who will go into action? His people. And they will ruin people. And that's what they do. They will ruin them. They will make sure that they never are a politician again. They will make sure, this is nuts. And it's very cult-like. So let me blob. I got to take more comments here. So let me see. Romeo, the evil man and his enablers in the Republican Party have done considerable damage in these past 4 years. Yes. Mohaka, welcome to the show. I hope you're still here. Hey there, did you hear about the anti-mob bill in Florida? This is awful. I heard about it, but I didn't read it. Thank you. Any information you want to give to that end would be awesome. Get TV news. What is wrong with your countrymen? Why are people letting what is happening to you? Well, scroll back up at the end, because I think this woman, and Applebaum, probably better in her book, but in the 2 articles I read many times over, explains it like the professional she is. This is her area of expertise, and she really hit it. When the thing is, a lot of times people will ask just anybody about their opinion. And the problem is, all opinions are not created equal. Okay? And that is because we are so specialized. Not any one person can just even keep up with everything that's going on. So for me to give my opinion on topics that have this much history, this much detail, this much significance, it's arrogant. So I look to the experts. And of course, I look and I try to find people who are really kicking ass in their field. And that's kind of how I help to form my opinion. My opinion is a fluid thing, because this is not my field of expertise. I do not know the truth. So I have to go to the experts. So that's kind of what I've done. Let me see here. Mario, I hope you're still here. I am so sorry. I was right in the middle of the rant, and I saw your eye. I've been seeing a lot of Mario's amazing live shows, and check out his stuff. He's really motivational and good. Very, very. It's Mario J. And please put if you want people to come by, put up your stuff on here. I'd love it. Check his stuff out. Mario says no. Mario says, I don't think so. And sadly, I'm kind of behind, so I'm not exactly sure when he said that. It might have been something about her, but I don't want to misquote you. So you have to jump back in and tell me what you think. Anastasia, they would love to be under a military rule because they know based on their race and economic status that they'd be treated better. That's why defund the cops is so contentious. I think, and with all due respect, Anastasia, I absolutely get what you're saying, but I'm going to have to slightly disagree. You are giving them too much credit. Honestly, I do not think they know what a military rule is. Just my take. I'm not trying to be hurtful. I'm just saying, based on the people I've worked with in the past, on the other side, people like that who will believe anything. They don't know what communism is. They don't know what socialism is. They don't know. They don't know. They just don't know. So you're very kind, but I think you're giving too much credit. Harper says you're absolutely right. You could be absolutely right. I'm just kind of guessing. Leslie Stahl did say that. Dom's world. Trump is a sore loser. He needs to realize he lost. Yeah, Dom's world, I don't think he's going to. I think he has a narcissistic personality type disorder. I don't know. I'm not a psychiatrist. Again, I'm not an expert. But I don't, in the group around him providing this, they're being coast to his mental illness, untreated, by the way, like you might have noticed. I don't think he's ever had to, face anything honest in his entire life. I'm guessing. I don't think he can handle it, and I don't think he intends on handling it. But yeah, no, great points. He'll never realize it, in my layperson opinion. News one: is America such that it is stolen, corrupt? So why think it is for the people? Why I think it should be for the people is because it's in our Constitution. And our job as Americans is to help to create a more perfect union. And it's pretty damn imperfect right now. But if everybody, and I mean everybody, got together and really cared, we could create a more perfect union. And I have a sliver, sliver is probably too much, of hope that this isn't going to be turning real ugly into a dictatorship, which will be horrific for everybody person, in my opinion. I believe in our Constitution. I think it's an amazing thing. Say what you want about the founding fathers, and there's a lot to say about a lot of them. But I'm not going to go A to Z here. They wrote a brilliant document. Were they brilliant people? Academically, sure. Morally, not so much, many of them. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the document that they left us that was meant to change over time with the people. It has gone full circle. Capitalism was never meant to be a lifestyle. So some say we're in late stage democracy. And this is what happens. A dictator or more social programs that will kind of balance, checks and balances. Trump's circumvented the checks and balances with the judiciary, easy for me to say, and with his group of people that he has sicked on anybody who might have in the past been man or woman enough to stand up and say, no, you're a lying sack of shit, and I'm not going to stand back and say nothing. So, he's the third balance of the executive and judiciary and Congress is really in trouble. So I hope that answers your question. Anastasia calls it the red mirage. Harper, right now there's utter chaos. It will change. Biden and Harris are going to appoint people who are thank you, Harper, experts in the field. We just have to make it to Inauguration Day. Excellent comment. TV, yes, get TV, exactly. Bakari, welcome. Thank you for being here. I hope you're still here. Really means a lot to me. You're a sweetheart. It won't be easy. Harper says the Trump campaign doesn't pay for the recount the states do. That's the thing. He's conned all his people into giving them money. So if you missed out on why I'm saying this, I quote a Reuters article, and damn, he's conning his people into giving him money, goes right into his pockets. It is kind of evil and genius, but see, he has a group of people who believe anything he says. He could say whatever the hell he wants, and he does, and they believe him. So what are we to do? This is getting crazy. Panther 11, still providing great stuff. Thank you so much. I hope you're still here. I've been blabbing a lot tonight, so I really wanted to get this out there. It's a long article. A lot of people just don't have the time and the focus to be able to sit down, and they have kids everywhere. And so I wanted to kind of blab this article out loud. It's a lot easier on video to have it kind of told at you. But I think this lady's brilliant, and I think she's absolutely spot on. It really made sense to me. Please encourage your friends to just go to this part of the live show if they're missing it, because every American who cares about our nation really needs to understand what's probably going to happen. Thank you, Panther 11. I appreciate it. Harper, someone needs to tell Trump and his cronies and his followers that the fat lady is sung and she went home. Yeah, I don't think he cares, but yeah, that'd be nice. Tomex, it's like I said, something did happen in 2012. People just haven't been the same mentally since. I don't know. Tomex, I'm not 100% sure what you're referring to, but if you want to write it out, I will absolutely read it. Harper, news one. Yes, a lot of people, whoa, it just scrambled. Let me go back. A lot of Americans have been brainwashed, and a lot of Americans are lazy in general. Absolutely. We want instant gratification. We'll listen to whoever's the loudest. Absolutely. The loudest voice in the room is not necessarily the smartest, the most correct, the most humane. I mean, people. Exactly. Awesome. Harper, you are like, you get it. Okay. Jordan, Trump's movement is nothing but hate and racism, and his followers are loving it because it gives them the courage to show their true colors with no shame. Amen to you, Jordan. I don't know if I was saying amen, sister, brother. Abso-stinkin-lutely. He had them at racism. The second they realized, this guy gets us. He's racist like us. It didn't matter what else he did. And that is one of my first videos I ever made years and years ago. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Trump had some of these folks at racism because we don't understand. They really, really, really need white supremacy in their life. Yeah, well, I can't speak for anyone but me, but no, I don't understand. I don't want to understand. All I know is I am not trying to put down Trump supporters. It is just the strangest damn thing I've ever seen in my life. I want to help them. I sound fierce and mean, but anybody who's a Trump supporter, and I've done this already, who wants to learn our real racial history so that they can understand how our past has really gone down racially in order to understand what's happening today. I am happy to educate. I will do it on the phone one-on-one. Go watch my videos. I have 700 apparently. I didn't realize I had that many. They're not all of me, but I've gone video crazy trying to build my YouTube channel ever since I got kicked off of Facebook for life. While I'm at this juncture, I could ask if anybody thinks they might like my videos, please consider subscribing and sharing, because during this horrible time, 4 years, it has been really hard to build YouTube followers because people are going insane. If it's not from coronavirus or lack of money, it's from the scary politics shit and all that. So if you want to support me, my goal is to educate white America so that white America can take the racial responsibility and educate other white Americans. It is not the responsibility of people who we have systemically marginalized to teach us how to act human. That's on us. And it's not hard, but it does take you dropping your ego at the door. And apparently a lot of us aren't willing to do that. Like most of us. I don't know why, but kind of our human nature, I suppose. We don't want to feel vulnerable. We don't want to feel stupid, but you know what? You have to do this. It is the most awakening, not I'm going to sound like a total geek here, but it's just, once you find out our real racial history about redlining, sundown towns, the Devil's Punch Bowl, the Compromise of 1877, you'll never go back. It's like riding first class. When you hear the truth, it'll all come together and make total sense, and you'll beg for more. I have a series of revealed histories of our real racial history that name 4 or 5 things that most people, white folks, have never heard of in their life, not in your history textbooks, have been washed out. Black codes. I mean, I could go on and on. So do look into the history. You'll never go back. It's real, and it'll make sense with what's happening. Okay, I will shut up and keep reading. Harper, you could not be more spot on. Oh my goodness. It's human nature. I mean, especially in this era of quick technology, we want 20-second TikTok videos. Well, sometimes you can't explain and understand important concepts in 20 seconds. It's kind of scary. And Jordan, absolutely. You Americans let him in the White House to get Obama. Now Americans have to suffer. Well, it's their fault that he is in there, right? Well, the bottom line is we can say your fault all day. It's really a moot point. In my opinion, it means nothing because, and I'm not trying to put you down, Get TV News, but it is what it is. Whoever's fault it is, it doesn't really matter because it's happening to all of us. Now, a lot of white folks don't know it's happening to them. And that's unfortunate. They may never. It might just happen. But white folks are apparently absolutely perfectly happy to vote against their own best interest. Economically, health-wise, I'm sorry. When I looked at the studies that showed people in Kentucky died 10 years earlier than people in like the top 10 other states in the US. And most of them don't want universal health care. Hello and welcome to, what are you, a freaking moron? I'm sorry. They have a 10-year, their life expectancy is 10 years less, almost 10 years less than people in other states. But no, they wouldn't want universal health care. Oh no. I mean, things have to make sense, people, and they don't. Listen to me blabbing. Okay, I'll take more comments. I'm on a rampage tonight. So yeah, blaming is, whatever. Blame all you want. People who are with it and trying to like figure this out have to solve it. That's kind of my take, but yeah. Oh, people, stop saying Get TV. It's not Get TV. It's GETV. News one in one word, ma'am. Thank you. Sorry. I need lessons. It's okay. It's GETV. Okay. Correct me. You're gonna have to correct me a bunch of times because I'm really bad. Okay. Did I skip anybody? We blame the American people more than the politicians because they put corrupt politicians in office. How do you get them out? Don't put them in office to begin with, period. Yeah. I mean, it's a cultural problem. It is a cultural and it's a white cultural problem. And I know a lot of people will hate me for it and say, oh, you just hate white people. And you know what? They'd be wrong. I don't hate white people. I expect more from us. I do. I have high standards. Deal with the pain. Nothing about hate. It's having high standards. I think we're better than this. I think we got to be better than this. We have to be. Because this nation's going down. And we're going down with it. We just don't know it. It's kind of sad. Unless you're a billionaire and white, good luck with you. It's just not going to happen. The elite people are the ones who will win. Everybody else will lose. And we can see it happening right now. This nation's been on lockdown and we don't even have a second. Some people have not gotten a first check. And we've been told to lock down. People are, don't even get me started off the subject. So yeah, the blaming thing, it doesn't do much for us. But Dave, do you know that mostly Republican voters who came out election day to vote, that 70% of them said racism was a major problem, but 65% of them voted for Trump? Yeah, it's really strange. As we all know, social science is a science, but there's so many convoluting factors. It's really strange. The whole thing is there's just so much to it. It's like a combination of psychology and the subconscious and our culture and our education, our upbringing. It's a lot. It doesn't make sense. You got kicked off for, Anastasia. Yeah, I got kicked off for life a long time ago, like 6 months ago. I don't know. It's been a long time. I can never keep track of time. Yeah, they had me download all my stuff and I'm done. Yeah, it's over. I'm sweating. I was so really, really sad. Really, really sad, but there's nothing I can do. No warning, no nothing. I didn't even get like what I did wrong. They didn't tell me. I asked them what I did wrong a couple of times, and then they just sent me, you're kicked off for life, and it made it like I lost every follower, friend, viewer, part of my family I had, and that was it. No recourse, nothing. So yeah, I'm really bummed about that. But that's why I'm always asking people, begging people for help on my YouTube, because I had to go to my YouTube. Harper, let me just see. Let me just back up. I'm getting a lot of fantastic comments, and I have a lot more to go on and on about with some of the stuff that I really want you guys to know. You might know it already, but I want to make sure. Let me just back up. Dave, thank you for that. Great point. Dave, you know what kind of surprised me about this election is Biden did better than with white voters than Hillary, but Trump did better with Hispanic voters in 2020 than 2016. What do you make of that? Well, a quick analysis of what I make of it, and again, I'm not an expert, is that we had misogyny at play with Hillary. Even women hate women. We got a culture of women are nasty to each other. And there's a lot of misogyny among women. And I believe that that was one of the major deals with Hillary. That women just, for some reason, not all women, but enough women, couldn't handle having a woman president. They just don't get it. It's a sophisticated thing, and they're just not there. You know, a lot of Muslim, 3 or 4 or 5 Muslim majority nations have had women heads of state. I'll say that one more time. 3 or 4 or 5 Muslim majority nations in the world have had women heads of state. Not us. So, I mean, we like to think we're all that. Keep thinking it, but think whatever you want. But the facts are the facts. I think it was misogyny and all that in general. And also, to be honest, I don't know if you saw my video, Dave, on white women historically. We've been horrific to Black people and African American people and brown people. We have been absolutely horrific to them in general. I mean, I did a really long video on it, and the research alone was mind-boggling. We have not been friends to our sisters and brothers who are Black, brown, and indigenous and of mixed heritage. We do not stand up to our racist parts, our husbands, spouses or whatever. We don't stand up to them. We don't stand up in society. We have fragility. We, of all people, being women who have obviously been marginalized, before and to some extent are absolutely still, we should know. Yet here we are. The Women's March is, I don't go to it. I don't subscribe to that because it is not inclusive. It's a white woman's march. And you might disagree with me, but from that first march I saw, I'm sorry. No can do. I'm not gonna support and promote. I have a video on that too. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you for asking. It was a great question. Probably not all the way, but close enough. Harper, white privilege. Oops, white people get offended at the term white privilege. Oh, yes, they do. It's simply as we were born. It's as simple as we were born white. People still want to argue about it, though. We are the problem. Not many whites realize that. I agree with you 100%. This is on us. We hold the majority, and we whites started all the systemic racism. I'm reading a book right now. It's like a bazillion pages, The People's History of America. It's amazing. I'm only on page 100, and it's like, oh my God. But it's an amazing book, and it's the real history. And I'll tell you, it is enough to jade the shit out of me. But it's the real history, and it takes excerpts from the real people. It's primary source stuff. I love it. Really, really good. And it has convinced me in the first 100 pages. I call bullshit on people who say racism is just a part of us. Not a chance in hell. After reading the first 100 pages of this book by this famous dude, no way. It is taught. It is enculturated. It's indoctrinated. We don't have to be racist. That's bullshit. Just my take. Back to your regularly scheduled comments. Sorry. But absolutely. This is on us. We did it, and we should take some racial responsibility yesterday. Anastasia, it's not that they don't want healthcare. They just don't want it for everyone. Yeah, that's kind of evil, huh? Yeah, I know. Yeah. But they, yeah. I don't get it. GETV, News 1. Did I say it right? White America has the ability to educate itself. Why should other people of social injustice teach the Caucasians? I think you're saying, or I don't think they should. if some people like to. Some of my friends who are black and brown and, you know, but mixed, they glean something from it. They feel empowered. They want to. Some people want nothing to do with it. They live, you know, in this world of systemic racism all day, and they really don't want to come home and have to deal with racist pieces of shit. As a white person, I'm not in that category. So I want to teach all day and all night if it helps. Nobody said they should. There's no, like I said earlier, I don't know if you were here, there's no responsibility of people who are abused by and marginalized by racism to teach that oppressor. Not a chance. Nope, never said that. And anyone who does is, you know, kind of not getting it. Backed up again. I'm so sorry. Oh, Harper, people who are afraid of universal health care don't understand that they can still pay for their private health insurance. They don't research, right? They don't take the time to do research. Exactly. Biden's not shutting it down or whatever. Yeah. You know what, Harper, to be honest, they don't want to know the truth. In this day of amazing communication technology, if you want to know the truth, it's out there. They don't want to. They don't want to. That's just my opinion, but I'm just saying. It's just kind of my take on this whole thing. Sorry, I'm just like profusely sweating, getting through all this stuff. So my hair is going woo. Let me see here. But yes, Harper. White Americans should do the research, but in general, we don't. Jordan. Exactly. It blows my mind that they can expect the constant lies from Trump and be okay with him taking from our education system, Social Security, etc. It's crazy. Yeah, I don't get it. It's just nuts. Agreed. Hello, John. I hope you're still here. Good to have you. John says, Hillary came off as elitist. Oh, yes, she sure did. And, you know, that is definitely part of it. I just don't know what she could have done. Trump really knows his propaganda. He is a con man to the core, and he absolutely gets what he's doing. And he did a number on her. He really did. And people don't even do their own research to look into lies nowadays. So yeah, she was kind of doomed, sadly. Anastasia, when white people were asked about racism being out of control, are we sure they didn't feel that they were being oppressed? White genocide or, oh, no, they did. Absolutely. No, the consensus was that, and this is a study I read like 5 years ago or six years ago. And it was that most adult over 18 white people in America, according to this study, believe that we are in a post-racial era and that if anyone is oppressed, it's them. Now, we are more segregated than post-64. So that could be a part of it. And all this is purposeful. Redlining, purposeful. Keep us separated. When you don't have a single close friend who isn't white like you, how the hell would you know what's going on? A lot of white people go, there's no racism. Well, because for them, there isn't. I mean, that's a horribly ignorant and arrogant thing to say, but they don't even know what it is. They think it's like burning crosses and saying the N-word. They don't get it. They don't know anybody. They have no close friend that's black or brown or indigenous or not white or Muslim American or, you know, Quaker or anything. So they don't know. It's just an arrogance. I don't know. But yeah, great points. Oh, good. You're still here, John. Yay. Let me just back it up. Bill Burr was on point when he talked about white women. Thank you. Your comments are amazing. I'm so happy you're here, Anastasia. You don't need Facebook anyway. All they want to do is market you goods and or sell you metadata. That's how they work. You know, Facebook's been involved in, helping to get Trump elected through Cambridge Analytica and Data Propia and using PSYOPs and from their stolen information. I have a video on it. It's a whole other story. But no. The only reason I needed them, not really a need, is because I had a really, really big audience there. And I lost the whole thing in one foul swoop. And I didn't try to get an audience. It was way before I even knew what an audience was. But I had a lot of people who were my friends, and they followed what I did. And when he completely shut it down, I lost. I was an editor for Dixon's page. Oh my God, I lost hundreds of thousands of people, basically. And I can't, build. So I had to start all over, building a whole nother platform. It's not a platform that I chose, but it's one that so far they haven't kicked me off of it. So I can't be, so that's why I'm always begging for people to help me get going again, because I want to do this for life. I want to teach. I want to blab. I want to do it. And you know what? I'm not an expert, but guess what? I'm a white woman, and it is imperative that white people start speaking out and feeling a little uncomfortable, putting it out there. And it doesn't even matter what I say, really. I'm talking about systemic racism, and I'm white. And people need to see a role model doing it. Just the average person. I'm just the average school teacher right now. Now with these glasses on, I am. But yeah, I just started this because I wanted people. I'm shy in front of a camera. I don't want to be in a video to save my life, but it's not about me. It's about my fellow humans who I'm watching be treated like a piece of shit. And I can't take it. So yeah, I don't need them, but they are the number one social media place where everybody goes, and they have a monopoly pretty much. So thank you though. Anastasia, what did Lynn V. Jones say? If you can exactly, I've said that 10 different talk shows. If you can convince, it's very antiquated. Don't come after me for this. If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him someone to look down upon, and he'll empty them for you. And that says it all. He said it all. It's true. That is our fragility. I don't get it, but it's true. So it's something that we got to deal with. Definitely something we have to deal with. Thank you for that. I didn't have to every time I look it up usually, but I didn't have to. Oh, you shared this on Twitter. Thank you, John. Yay. I appreciate it. I feel so stupid begging people to share my stuff, because if they like it, they'll share it. I don't want to be like that person, but it's pretty devastating, losing all my friends to begin with, and all the people who used to follow what I do. So it's kind of hard. Emptiest pockets. Yeah, nothing's changed. Thank you. Anastasia, 100% spot on. Harper, I wonder how the history books, information on the internet, will teach this time in history. Well. I have no doubt that it'll be taught, whoever the winner is, as we say. But I should have had that book with me. I want to run and go get it. I got to show you this book. The first 100 pages, oh my God, it's already taught me so much. Let me see. It's a great question. Anastasia, equity will always be oppressive to the oppressor. Absolutely. And I don't know if this is when you were thinking about that comment, but the truth of the matter is that, like we were saying earlier, when you talk about anti-racism, a lot of white folks call you un-American, because that's how intertwined it is. It's a really sick thing. I feel the opposite. If you're a racist piece of shit, you're un-American. You're not living up to our Constitution. But name calling can only go so far. It doesn't seem to help in this case. This is a strange dynamic we have going, but thank you for all the great comments. Jeremy, hello. Unpopular opinion, Malcolm X needs to be resurrected. Not gonna lie. Yeah, no, I have come full circle, Jeremy. I'll tell you. People used to ask me, and though it is really not my place as a white person, they beg it out of me, like, so what do you think about this? What do you think about that? I've come full circle. I'm really jaded, more than ever. I won't go any further than that, but I've definitely, in the last maybe year, I've got some opinions that aren't so great about what's going on. I just can't get over the fact that white folks can't catch on to systemic racism not being in our best interest either. If for nothing else, do you really want to live and have your children live in a society where your neighbors are treated like a piece of crap because they have more active melanin in their skin than you? What the fuck? That's really screwy. I'm sorry. I guess teachers don't swear, but I do. Oops. Sorry. Okay. Right now I'm gonna pitch something to everybody. If you, like I do, believe that it is way past time for white America to start learning our own racial history and educate ourselves so we can educate other white people, please consider subscribing and watching my videos. I have a large array of obnoxious rants from the heart that include things about corruption, inequality of every type, anti-racism, anti-bigotry, and everything that goes with it. So please consider subscribing or helping me to get subscribers. Yes, I'm begging because I really want to keep doing this. If nothing else, like I said, it sets an example. Look, there's a white person talking about Black people, and she lived through it. Sometimes that's all you need to inspire people. I don't even have to be good. Okay, let me just finish up here with these comments. Great call, Jeremy. Yeah. Jeremy, just to unleash hell on the current political landscape. Yeah. Like everybody says, if every Black person in America decided that they need to be armed, I promise you we would have gun laws like you have never seen in your life. Part of the stuff I'm reading about is all this huge history about how uprisings, how in the South, the whites were so just off the rocker, terrified of uprisings because they were outnumbered in a lot of places. And it's like they spent their life worrying about it, making laws about it, trying to stop it, trying to oppress and make sure that Black people did not accumulate wealth, generational wealth. And because that's power in a society that's gone berserk with capitalism. We've really lost our way. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. Let me see here. Great points. Bakari, the whites will fight one another in the streets, in my humble opinion. I guess so. Yeah, I don't know. History is written by the dictator. Yep. John, as real estate agent, whites want to live with other whites, and Blacks are suspicious of living with other whites because they feel unwelcome. Well, we've made them feel unwelcome. That's on us. Absolutely. I know there's this thing historically about whites wanting to live with other whites, and that's our culture. We're racist as fuck. And that's such a big part of our culture, as is capitalism on steroids. And I got to say, sometimes I wonder which is first. It's really bad. Ronald, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. Yay. I hope you're still here. Great points, John. Yeah, that's historically redlining is still on the realtor's test in many states today, according to a realtor I spoke to from New York, as it should be, because you can't use the law to change someone's heart. Damn it. You can force them to behave, but laws don't change people's hearts. If you were raised racist and you don't care to change that, what are you going to do? Bakari, over the votes, I mean it with civil war. Oh, okay. Yeah. I know they've been threatening, and it's just crazy. We'll have to see. Good point. Thank you, Bakari. Harper, the idiots will still flying the Confederate flag. They don't realize they lost, right? Yeah, I know. That whole Confederate flag thing, because I'm from California, and I guess I was like really sheltered. When I saw a real live Confederate flag, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm such the fragile one. I'm like, oh my God, like, get the cameras. I was like, my first one, I was literally like, kids, oh my God. And they're like, what, mommy, what? I'm like, I can't believe it. I was like a deer in headlights. I'm really sheltered. I couldn't believe it. People have the gall to actually, and don't even get me started. I did a video on the fact that the very last state got rid of it. off of their flag. I don't even give credit for that. That's just that they still had it in this day and age, that they still have it anywhere, makes me want to throw up. But that's just me. That's just me. Great point again. Anastasia, have you spoken on the lynching of the, oh no. I have an article on it, and the 15-year-old boy, the little boy you were talking about, the young teen, just, no, I read about it. I just can't even, it's just sick. Just sick. Yeah, and I'll probably try to put that in. Thank you. There was just so much to do at this time. I didn't. Yeah, just horrible. Thank you for bringing that up. If you want to add anything to that, I'll be happy to read it. If you have decided and can concur, tell me more. GETV. I'm not sure what you're saying in your last comment, but definitely tell me more and I'll address it. Anastasia, I'm in Mississippi where they voted overwhelmingly to keep Jim Crow water fountains, and a legislator even spoke on seceding from the Union. Ew. Damn. I did not know. I guess I didn't realize that you were there. My family raised me personally in the era of colorblindness. They weren't overtly racist. I've never heard them say a racial derogatory thing in their entire life, nor did they explain to me why all this was going on. I had to kind of learn it on my own, which is fine. They didn't say a word. But my mom did say one thing to me when I was a little girl. I was probably 6. She said, never go to the South. Never live in the South. I was like, okay. I didn't know what that meant. I was like, oh, okay. I was like a little kid. So that's all she said. But because she was referring to, obviously, she says, like, racism is just really tough there. Harper says, oh, happy Veterans Day to all. That is wonderful. Happy Veterans Day to everybody. Thank you, Anastasia, for that. Jeremy, controversial opinion. The best argument against racism is that evolution requires sacrifice. If that comes with hard debating and pressing against their speech, then it will do humanity a favor. Yeah, you have to tell me more of what you're saying. I'm not 100% clear. It's not your fault. I want to be exact. I want to be very, very precise about that. I just can't buy into the whole evolutionary have to be racist. I get tribalism, but racism. Let's all color code each other. And it's what we first see, and we're very visual. But after reading this book and learning our real history, I think it's contrived and it was created. I really do. And I've heard that tons of times in different pieces of literature, but this book really explains it well. The one I'm reading, the People's History of America. So I really liked it. But let me see. John, I was reared racist, and it is a great deal of work to truly change, and I have not changed enough yet. John, I know that because you've told me that, and I cannot explain to you how proud I am of you personally. My friend Dixon White was raised racist, and he has had a full transformation. And John, you have come so far. And see, I didn't have to do that. And I was raised racist in the sense that I was indoctrinated into the society, as all white folks are, and many other people, but I wasn't raised overtly racist. My parents had friends of everything, and they just didn't talk about it. They didn't say anything. They didn't explain it. It was just, nobody talked about it because we were all just happy to be humans. And so they didn't explain it. And it is a lot easier. I can tell just from what I've seen of people who have to reinvent themselves for who they really are meant to be. I didn't have to do that. I just had to learn and think, but I didn't have to completely reinvent anything. And it really is an amazing thing. And it absolutely, like Jane Elliott says, if you can teach people to be racist, you can teach them not to be. And I am absolutely a believer in what she says. She was my very first person I ever knew about that was a white person who was willing to talk about racism. And I was 18 years old, and I had found my true hero. And that was it. I was like, oh my God, who is this lady? I have to know her. I had never met anybody who talked about it. I saw it when I was 6 and nobody told me what it was. And I was a very shy child and I didn't know. I wasn't not so bright child. I didn't know what it was. I just knew something bad was happening. And when I was 12, I kind of started figuring out. When I was 18, I finally kind of got it. And it opened up my entire world. I ended up going to school for multiculturalism, is what they called it then. Basically like cultural competency, I guess would be, I don't know what they call it now. Multiculturalism is what they called it. I did my 4-year degree. I got my master's in special education, worked in Compton Unified School District during the LA riots, and saw redlining to the most precious children, my first babies. I was 23. I had never seen children put into such circumstances with parents working 2 or 3 jobs, and these kids were just little angels, and they did not deserve. We had 7 shootings, or actually 8 shootings in the first 9 months of right before the riots, where you could hear bullets, if you could recognize it. It sounds like a car backfiring really, really loud. You could hear it in the classroom. And they call a yellow alert every month, basically, every month of the school year. We had to lock up. Everyone had to duck, and my kids wouldn't duck. And I was like 23 years old going, come on, guys. Like, I'm sort of in charge of your life. They're like, we don't have to do it. I'm like, yes, you do. So I learned more from these babies. The school got taken over the year I left by the state because of lack of funding. And that's a whole other story. The funding of schools that have been redlined and total horrific. Mr. Big Z, thank you. What a nice compliment. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. I'm so happy you're here. If you're still here, I'm like blabbing away. Enough about me. Let me take more comments. Harper, you served in the Navy. That's awesome. Happy day. That's really cool. You'll have to tell me about that sometime in person. Jeremy, make them be in a state of cowardice in media platforms and don't give them an inch of empowerment. I'm assuming you're talking about what we were talking about earlier. GETV is one. When you divide and conquer, you win both sides. And let me just back it up. I think I got everybody. John, I absolutely appreciate your comments about very forthright and humble of you. It's something to be proud of. I have worked with thousands of white people at every level of the anti-continuum, of the anti-racism continuum. And let me tell you, there's a billion levels, and just to be able to talk about it and it's just so nice. It's honest, it's real, it's true. And you're a fabulous role model. Thank you so much. Jamie, in San Antonio, racist Nazis have been posting flyers on utility poles that are accepting members. San Antonio police, Bexar County sheriffs are investigating who they are. Oh, wow. Yeah, there's a lot of recruitment going on. At least a couple articles I read on it say so, and it makes sense. It's really scary. Yeah, be safe, Jamie. I worry about you because that's really scary. Jeremy, integration is a primary requirement for nations and cultures to evolve, comrade. Oh, okay. Comrade. Yeah, absolutely. I think that globalism is by definition the way we have to go. Globalism, this whole nationalism stuff is just ludicrous. We have a planet that's dying. We need to stop the planet from dying so that we stop us from dying. It's going to take us all. So it's not even a matter of, I'm a nationalist. Well, you know what? You can be one and bye-bye. I don't think there's a choice. Obviously, I think being a globalist is I love my fellow humans. Every last one of them. Even the Trump ones. I don't understand them. I don't get them. I have given up trying to get it. I would be thrilled to interview Trump supporters. If you guys know Trump supporters that want to be like, not people who are like gonna like start screaming and being, I mean, people who just, think what they think and they don't care and all that. I will not humiliate them. I will not do anything. I have been in the back of my mind. I want to know. I don't get it. I need to understand. And I don't understand. One of the interviews, my very first video was an interview, just serendipitously. I came upon these people. Oh my God. And they thought I was, because I'm white, they thought I was like a supporter. It was their little mini Trump rally. And I interviewed people and oh my God, they were, I didn't get it. I left there more confused than ever. Let me see. Oh, Jeremy, you were probably trying to explain something from before, maybe. I don't know. I'm losing it here. Please excuse me. Gary, have you seen the comments by Trumpers on Parler? All civil war and getting rid of Trump's enemies. That's scary. No, I have not. I don't venture out much because I work so many hours and then I want to do this and put videos up and try to educate myself more. And so it's really crazy. But yeah, I can't imagine. I get, I'll be honest with everybody. The mail that the Trump supporters that I come in contact with are from my hate mail on YouTube. That's mostly what I come into contact with because I'm not on Facebook anymore. I mean, I have my page because I have like a backdoor route in to my page, but the truth of the matter is I'm not, I can't really like scroll through Facebook or anything. So I don't see any of those, but the people who are hateful people to me are very personal. Oh my God. I've had death threats and the police have had to come and all that, but that's not, the ones that I get the most are like really, they're always from white men too. And sometimes white women, but I always think maybe it's really a guy because it just doesn't seem like a woman. But anyway, the ones that I get are simply, I hope a black man rapes you. I hope a black man comes to get you. I'm like, shut up. It's like, it's just, the whole thing's ridiculous. But those are the only contact I have with hateful Trump supporters. And they call me fat, they call me ugly. It's whatever. It's just the basic MO. They don't talk about the issues because what are they going to say? I mean, I'm a racist piece of shit. I don't know what they're going to say. So I don't know. It's not good. But other than that, I don't have much contact. I'm very sheltered, very sheltered. But they send me stuff. One person actually went on my Facebook page and told me off. And it was really funny because it's a little more personal when you're on Facebook on the page. So I was surprised. I don't get that too often. Colin's freaking dad. Hello there. Where have you been all my life? Oh my gosh. I am so happy you're here if you're still here. Happy to see you. Wow, it's been a while. And Neil, oh my gosh, I'm happy you are here. I hope you're still here. I've been blabbing away. The stuff I told about at the beginning about Anne Applebaum's articles that I read, a person who wrote the Twilight of Democracy. Please go back. It was the most important. I would scream it from the rooftops. This woman talked about what Trump's up to in the next 70 days, and she is an expert in the field. And oh my God, I think she's right. And it is scary. Neil, I hope you're here. Thank you for being here. Okay. GETV. We don't think individuals should be colorblind. We think they should embrace all ethnic colors and persons. Yeah, absolutely. I'm older. I'm a lot older. And when I was younger and being raised, not an adult, there was an era of colorblind. And it is not ideal. It is obviously probably not quite as bad as, being a person who's in the Ku Klux Klan, but it is an era our country has gone through. We're not really in that era anymore, although a lot of people have tried to keep us in that era. But yeah, no, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. Let me see here. Oh, God, I hope I'm not skipping anybody. Baby's in bed, big boy sleeping too. Usually I am thrilled you're here. And Neil, I'm thrilled you're here too. And oh, you've been called a race traitor. Yeah, that about like for 4 or 5 years, that's what I got a lot. You're a race traitor. And at first, I would say to them, and I'll get back to you, Jeremy. I just realized I skipped you. I am so sorry. I'm really bad like that. At first, I would say a race traitor, but we're all the same race. And I tried to like teach them like a teacher. They don't want to learn. They don't care. How can I be a traitor? You're in my race. You're actually my race. And so is everybody else. They just don't get it. And people who are on that fundamentally like low level, I guess you could call it, on the anti-racism continuum, they don't want to learn. So there's not a lot we can do. Oh, did you? And I skipped it. Thank you. I'm going back up. First, I'm going to see. I get kind of all over the place. Thank you, Harper. Jeremy, bro, I don't get why the right to assemble militia are needed. We already got state and federal army reserves. Just saying. Yeah, I don't know. It's a great question. Let me go back up. I cannot believe I did skip you. Oh, I skipped a lot. What's wrong with me? Don't answer that. That was a rhetorical question. Nobody needs to know the answer. Anastasia, Howard Zinn, love that book. And they have the Zinn Education Project on Facebook. It's amazing. Could you please send that to me? I don't know about that. I'm just reading the book, and the book's like that book's like this big. It's so big. It's a little intimidating, but it's really good. Like really good. And I'm a slow reader too, so it's really good. Thank you. And Harper, coming from a Sicilian Catholic upbringing, I was taught to be racist. Luckily, I'm stubborn and call them out for it. Just one of the many reasons I walked away from them. Thank you, Harper, for saying that. It's really important to, we don't choose our parents. We don't choose our religion, usually, unless you're older. And we don't choose our circumstances. And so once we become adults, we got to kind of like, step up to the plate and be adults and figure out what kind of person we want to be. And I have the utmost respect for that kind of thing. I really do. I think that's so cool. I really, really think that's awesome. And I think I skipped more people. Oh my God, I am so sorry. I don't know how I did it, obviously, because I wouldn't have done it if I did, but I always do stuff like that. John, I never really understood racism, the evil of it, until I went to Louisiana State University. Is that what yeah, you know what? This is something I heard somebody say. For Americans who are college educated, their first glimpse, if you're white and fairly sheltered, which we're very segregated, at racism is your freshman or sophomore year in college, and that's not soon enough. It needs to be in preschool, kindergarten, first, at appropriate levels. Anti-racism education, we could change this nation's culture in a generation. Little kids, they're not racist unless they're taught to be. They play with everybody. They just want to play. I have a couple videos on this. And you know that, and I know that, because unless mom or dad tells you you can't, or tells you something nasty and horrible, you just want to play. You don't give a shit what anyone is. You just want to play. And that is human nature. And then something happens. It's the indoctrination, our cultural indoctrination. It's the ugliest thing on the planet. I will, till my last breath, I will never believe that people have to be racist. I'm not buying it. No one will ever convince me of that. It is a choice, and it is taught. It's enculturated and indoctrinated. And if you can, just like Jane Elliott says, if you can teach it, you can unteach it. Okay, I think I got everyone. Thank you for letting me know that naughty me. I am Colin's freaking dad. I am very glad to have you here. Let me see. Neil, I've questioned both sides who says hateful things to people who support Trump or Biden. And if they're just hateful people who do not support anyone, just want to divide us. Just my opinion. Yeah. I thanks, Dennis. It's crazy here. I understand what you're saying, and not wanting to get too into it, because it's hard when I can talk and you can just write. It's like I have the upper hand. And I know you do have a lot of good things to say. I am happy to agree to disagree on almost any topic, really. But when it comes to my fellow humans being abused, oppressed, marginalized, treated like second, third, fourth, fifth, 10th, a billionth class citizens, all bets are off. I do not agree to disagree. There's no debate. It's a non-debatable issue for me because there's no sides. There's one side. The side of humanism is the only side I'm on. And I'm sorry, I know that's stubborn. I think there's still some free speech in America, at least as far as I know. So that's what I think, and I'm sticking to it. And I'm not sure if that's where you were getting at or not, but I do not think there's an equivalency at all. I think there is just a horrific cruelty to it. And I won't get any more into it than that, but I want to hear what you have to say. Thank you about my glasses. Oh my God, it's a long story. I've never worn glasses before. This is like the longest I think I've ever worn them in my entire life. So I got contacts when I was 12. But anyway, enough about me and I'm embarrassed, but I'm like, it's not about me. Thank you. Okay, I'm going down. Dennis, I'm glad you're here. I hope you're still here. My hair is very goofy today because I was sweating my butt off. People of America have been brainwashed to be what is called racist to us. It is being bigoted or ethnic bias. You may or may not disagree. My opinion, definitions, no shit's given. Call it whatever you want. It's still what it is. You can call it anything you want. It's still, we all know what it is. It's inhumanity. It's inequity. It's being rude. And I'm not one to get into the whole definitions thing. I've done that in my past because you kind of have to when you take a university class. You got to write on stuff. But call it whatever you want. It's still what it is. But yeah, good point. Yep, Dennis, absolutely. Harper. When I was 7 or 8, the first Black family moved onto our block. I played with Sean until my mother told me I couldn't because I said so. Was to be obeyed. Yeah, I don't know how old you are, but yeah, and I said so is kind of a classic. Yep. So you know what I mean, Harper. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's why it's so cool when I meet people who have actually been raised like that, and then they come full circle. It's like I bow down to you. So, Mahako. Hey, why are you banned on Facebook? Back on topic. I noticed a lot of white supremacists like to celebrate losers of history. I'm banned on Facebook. They would not tell me. They refuse to tell me. But the thing is, in all honesty, I know exactly why I'm banned. It's because I spoke the truth. I mean, I can't think of any other reason. They didn't even tell me why. They didn't give me any jail time, Facebook jail time. They just basically shut my account down. I asked them about it, and when I inquired, I inquired. So I don't really know, but it's probably because I dared to speak the truth. I don't hate white people. I am a white people. Why would I hate white people? This has nothing to do with that. And anyone who says that, not that I know you're not saying that, is basically trying to get out of the subject matter, which is the absolute ludicrous amount of systemic racism we have in America. It's not about hate or not. I don't have hate. It's a fact. It's our culture. We got to do something about it. No hate. No hate. It's nothing to do with that. Let me see here. Thanks for asking. Yeah, I don't know. Dennis, can't see very well. I'm getting new glasses. Handing that racism down through the generations like precious family heirloom. Yes. And one of my videos, I talk about the cycle of passing down racism to your children. And I'm actually doing a 3-part video, and I don't know if it'll do well or not, but it's a 3-part video on how to raise children that love their fellow humans. And I'm not sure what it's going to be called. I have 35 ways, and I would love, actually I have to put up a post on my Facebook page that I still have access to and ask people who have raised children that are children of the world is what I call it. and how they did it and what they did, because I believe it can be taught. It's part of your value system at home. It can come from the home, just as severe overt racism can come from the home. And I would like to be part of the solution. So I was trying to come up with some ideas that I had about how I did things. I didn't read a book on it. I mean, I have read books on it, but the things I put aren't from books. They're just things that intuitively made sense to me. And they're things as simple as, and don't hate on me for this, the sanctity of life. Don't kill a bug just for the hell of it. Okay, don't hate me. I'm telling you. I am telling you, that's a part of teaching the sanctity of life. Something that's inconvenient. You don't just stomp on it and you get out of my house. And I really feel that some of these things add up for little children, learning about what's alive and how you treat living things. And that's the only hint I'm going to say about that. But anyway, it's a 3-part video series. I'm going to do it. I hope it goes over well. I hope so. What can I say? Let me just back it up here. Dennis, awesome point on it's like the cycle of poverty, the cycle of racism. We pass it right on down. We teach our children how to hate, and they don't even know they're being taught. It's really sad. John, before I went to LSU, I was like a fish in water. At LSU, I learned the water was racist. Right? You just, when you're completely surrounded by it and you know no other way, that's why it's imperative that white folks become friends with people who do not look like them. Good friends, not acquaintances, good friends. About 10 years ago, I read a study said that 3 out of every 4 white folks in America didn't have a single close friend that wasn't white just like them. Well, that kind of says it all. What a great way to make sure that the media bias, the stereotypes, the propaganda is all we hear. That's how they do it. The wealthiest elite who run our country thank us for our service in racism, so that we never unite together as a force to make our needs be known and our demands be heard. And that's a theme throughout history. Whenever we start coming back together, Howard Zinn, it's in his book too, the powers that are there make sure we are divided. And it is absolutely purposeful. When I was younger, I thought this whole racism thing, okay, I was a very naive child, very sheltered and naive. And I thought people just didn't like get it. And all I would have to do is just go tell them, oh, that hurts them. Don't do that. Don't talk like that. That hurts. And they'd say, okay. I mean, I really was naive. I was sheltered. I thought, well, they just don't get it. And we just have to teach them. Well, now I know it's not really. A lot of them, most of them, I'm sorry, they don't want to know. They're not ready to know. I don't know. They don't want to know, because in this day of communication technology, if you want to know the truth, you can research it out. You can dig it out. It's just a matter of work. So anyway, listen to me blab. Let me see. John, great comments. GETV News 1. To us, people of the earth are all part of the human race, period. Absolutely. Anastasia. Exactly, Kim. That whole word policing around racism is bullshit. Yeah, I don't call it what you want. It doesn't. You're close to my age, but I'm older. Very good. Yeah, no, Anastasia, I absolutely, yeah. I mean, I went to school. I had to take some classes with, on, I guess, what am I trying to think? I'm blanking on the name, but he's one of my favorite people. But I had to take a lot of classes on language and what it means in society and all that stuff. But when push comes to shove, it is what it is. Call it what you want. Let me see. Okay. I'm backing up. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to get to that. Oh, I'm so bad. Okay. We are all brothers. I can't read this. Ranaldino soccer. I'm not sure what that means, but I'll keep reading it. Bojiden. Okay. Literally just raise them Christian and they won't be racist. I beg to differ, sir. I think, don't get me started. Harper, raising them Christian does not stop racism. Sad to say, think about the far right, the evangelical Christians are the ones supporting Trump. They're the people who started it. They are absolutely incredibly racist, incredibly cruel and hurtful, incredibly bigoted, and proud. So I'm not sure. Yes, killing bugs makes us racist. Dude, whatever you say. I'm not sure if you're like trying to be funny or if you're being serious. If you're serious, then come on. But I feel like you're kind of like missing the point. But whatever. I'll keep reading your stuff until, I mean, if you really seem like you, I'm not really here to debate racism. It's inhumane. And so if you come on, either come to learn and come to teach, but don't come to debate racism. There's no debate. It's not a debatable issue. So I'm not trying to be rude, but you are on my live show. So I'm just saying. Okay. Neil, they just took Claudio Marti down and no one knows why. And he was into the 9/11 truth movement, but no one knew why they took him down. It may be because of his opinions about Israel. Really? Damn. They took him down on what platform? I did not know that. That's interesting. Dennis, you're banned on Facebook. Facebook is hardcore on people of color and allies, and you are a very staunch ally. Oh, thank you. They muzzled me if they did, and they were so mean about it too. Thank you, Dennis. Yeah, you know what? It was inevitable. I don't even care. But at the time, I was incredibly hurt because I lost all my friends, and I had a bunch of groups that I was in and running, and it was an editor for Dixon White, and it was like, boop, that was it. It's kind of like the death of, and some people reached back out to me, but some people to this day just probably think I just quit doing what I do, but it is what it is. But I was very sad about it. This means a lot to me. I know I'm a white person, but it just does. This means so much to me. And we could go on and analyze that, but it's not about me. So who cares? This is my life. It matters to me. Let me see here. Lagoon Lamani. Well, it kind of does, being that Christianity is infamous for loving everyone. Unfortunately, the ideology is infamous, but if push comes to shove and we actually identify Christianity as a whole, they are supposed to love everybody, but unfortunately, it's not really how it works. In America, at least. And I'm assuming you're in America. If you're not, then I can't speak to your culture. But in American culture, Christianity is right up there with everybody else being racist as hell. So I'm just saying, religion, I mean, I know you're supposed to, but it hasn't worked out that way. Just ask Trump and all his followers. Neil, Facebook is losing a lot of people, so you're better off here where you can have more freedom of speech. Yeah, no, Neil, I appreciate that. Neil, you've been such a great support to me. My big thing is this. I lost a gazillion people that I really liked. And I didn't get to say goodbye. I mean, it meant a lot to me. I don't have like a lot of friends in real life. And during this COVID thing, I'm not supposed to do anything. So it was tough. But you know what? Talk about first developed nation problems. People have worse problems than me. I was extremely upset because it's kind of my lifeline, but got to do what you got to do. I think that Facebook, I have a couple of kind of not so kind videos about Facebook. I think Mark needs to be broken up. He has way too much power based on what he did with Cambridge Analytica and his meetings with Trump. He is out of control. The person who runs a social network should not be able to run an election, should not be able to brainwash people, should not be able to have data stolen and used with psyops, psychological ops that are military grade to brainwash people. And that's what happened. And that's why he allows for political lies, is because that's how they did it. They did it slowly over time using the same scientific methods we use on other countries. Our military does. And it's really screwed up. I have a video on it, boring video, but it will open your eyes. You will not believe it. It's boring because it's technical, because it's a lot of research, and it shows how he did it. And he hired Cambridge Analytica for 2016, and the owner, I guess, credits himself with having won that by basically swaying people in the purple states by pinpointing it's called micro targeting. Anyway, my video tells all about it. It's boring, but it's like, wow, if you don't know about it, damn, it's a whole nother world. Kind of like what you could see on TV, but it's real. Let me see. Not all, Harper, not all Christians love everyone. I talked to an author, and I did a video interview of an author who is absolute Christian, and he wrote a book, and you should check it out. It's on my thing, and he talks all about Christianity. I was so pleased to have someone so as one with their own beliefs that they could talk about it. And he's from Mississippi, and a white dude, and he wrote a book and talks all about Christianity and all of what you're kind of referencing right now. You might enjoy it. And he's a friend of mine. Having white friends doesn't make people racist. That is true. Everyone has white friends. I don't know anyone who doesn't. So yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe somebody said that to you once. I'm white, so of course my family's my friend. I mean, yeah, it's like, yeah, no, absolutely. There's nobody. I don't think anyone's saying that. If they do, they're being goofy. That's silly. I don't even get that, actually. Let me see. It'd be hard to avoid. White people are kind of everywhere, you know. Let me see. Jeremy, by the way, Jesus might be black just saying. No, yeah, absolutely. I don't think he just might be. I think he was and is, or was, I guess, because he's not. But yeah, no, absolutely. He's every historian, like professional, academic historian, says the area he was from was a brown area. Most people didn't travel more than 200 miles from their home ever in their lifetime. Jesus was a brown man. Absolutely. And he was reinvented as this like pale-skinned, blue-eyed, blonde type. Blah. This is still invention. Absolutely. He was in one of my videos. I actually say, I think you should sit down for this, because I'm going to tell you, I was being goofy, but I say Jesus Christ was a brown man. Absolutely. There's no, you got to go with the experts and the professionals. And that is not a disputed point among academics, at least good ones, I suppose. But let me see. Oh, because they aren't Christians. I'm not sure. Lagoon, you have a thing about Christians. Not sure what that's about. And nobody is making you stay. So if you like it here, stay. If you're here to learn, stay. But if you don't. I will not be hurt. This is not everybody's thing. Okay. Jeremy, hot take, but there is some potential scriptural evidence. Absolutely. Absolutely. No, it's not a hot take. I've read that too. I've also read some of the statues of Roman and Greek well, it's a whole nother story. I won't go on and on, but yeah, there's absolutely a lot of anecdotal evidence and stuff like that. Okay, let me see. I lost my spot. Yay. Thank you, Harper and John. You guys are wonderful. Neil, I agree with Mark. I agree. Mark is out of control, and so is Jack Dorsey and Twitter. Yeah, it's a lot of these are kind of Mahako. Yeah. Kim, has anyone said an overt racist thing to you about another person? How did you handle the situation? Oh, that's a good. Yeah, they have. Everybody has to have that's a great question. Every white person, because I speak to white people, I speak with Black people and brown people and everybody, but my stuff, I'm not teaching Black people. How would I do that? How would I know better than they know? That would be arrogant. I don't live it every day. I study it, but I don't live it. So yeah. In my teaching of white folks, I have had people do that kind of thing. And there's only about 30 classic cliche things to deny racism. So if you learn the 30 classic cliche things for denying racism, like, oh, my relatives never owned slaves. I mean, that's one of them. And learn how to debunk them in a kind of intellectual way, you can do that. And that's what I usually go towards. But there's also some other methods that aren't quite as nice. I personally believe that if somebody is going to be a racist piece of shit, that they should be proud of it. And if somebody murmurs some racist crap and I hear it, I often will find myself, and it doesn't happen very often to me, I'll say, excuse me, did you just say? And then I'll say that, and I'll say it loudly, because you know what? I feel like it's the only way. People who say that kind of stuff don't want to learn. They don't care. And if they're going to be like that, they should be proud of it and not be so shy and not be so, like a bully, like just whispering, let it out. I would much rather have labels than know somebody is this than just have to wonder. And that has only happened once in my life, where I was, I had the kind of the gall to actually say, what did you just say? Like that, and they went for it. And I said, wait, I didn't hear you. What? And that was very like passive aggressive. But normally I will just explain and teach them. But if for white folks, you got to know these cold, because what's going to happen is you're setting an example for your children. You're setting an example for anybody listening. And it's very important. And so if you're nervous, which, I would be, you hear somebody say something I've had people say some obnoxious things. And most of the time I just debunk it in a kind of teacher sort of way. Like it comes off as teaching. It maybe not, kind of sanctimonious, but better that than, rude. But you got to know the stuff cold. So you got to practice. You got to practice debunking these things. So when it happens in real life, you're good. Because it can kind of put you like a deer in headlights, like when you're just like, and you don't know what to say. So it takes practice. At least for me, it does. But I don't get that too much. I don't go anywhere and do anything. But yeah, great question. Really great question. It's happened. I've had some of my older children with me when it's happened, and I've had to like stuff a sock in it, because my kids, they're kids. So they'll be like, what? They kind of go nuts. So it's kind of funny. They don't have the maturity or whatever, but yeah. Harper, Jeremy, try telling that to a white person. There are no white people in the Bible, but white people lose their mind over that. Oh, they do. Yeah, they do. I don't know why, but I do know why. It's because if you ever told somebody race is a human construct who doesn't get it, and you explain what that is, it's like mind equals blown. You got to like leave them alone and let them digest the huge life-changing information. You can't just throw stuff. Teaching anti-racism is kind of tough because we're indoctrinated at birth. So it's like you're telling someone you're a freaking alien or something. They just look at you like you're a weirdo and they run. So you got to kind of like go slowly and let the person have a few minutes or, a few weeks or a few days or whatever they need to digest it. It's a really slow process. That they will act like you're crazy. You have to kind of meet them where they're at. It's a strange psychological thing, but I mean, you can do it if I've seen it done. Great points, Harper. Neil, people who say they are Christian and go to church on Sunday or whatever, but hate or spew lies to the rest of the week are not truly Christian, but just using Christian as a cover. Right. Absolutely, Neil. And that's a very, very basic, but extremely important point. And I don't want to speak for Neil, but what he's saying is simply, if you're religious and your religion, you think somehow allows for that, you're probably doing it wrong. Or maybe you're there's a couple old fashioned religions that like have racism built in, but boy, I think it's a cover. It is an excuse to be an asshole. I'm just saying. I don't know. I'm not religious, but I just don't see, what would Jesus do? Be a racist piece of shit? No, I'm not buying it. I don't know. What can I say? Thanks, Neil. That was very, very enlightening. We needed that. True Christians do not look at color to decide if a person's of color is different. They love them because they are their brother or sister. Thank you, Neil. That is awesome. And at this point, I know it's getting late. I want to quickly go over one little thing here that I want to see what you think of. And these are, really quickly, the traditional norms that Trump has broken. And I want to ask you how Biden can get them back. So to start out with, the most obvious norm that Trump's broken at a record rate is simply not being presidential. It's like, oh my God, he tweets and makes fun of people. He called somebody fat when on the radio, when he was just kind of like trying to get to be president. And my child's like, was listening. And I'm like, oh my God, she was little. I don't want my child to hear a president call a woman fat. That's just rude. That's judgmental and just goddamn rude. And so I was like, I can't even have the radio on now because the people were quoting, this is when he first got onto the scene. They were quoting what he said, and he called some beautiful woman fat. And they kept saying it over and over again. And my child was listening. So, I mean, talk about not presidential. That's an understatement of the, he's very cruel. Trump has no shame about making, everything about him. That's not presidential. He doesn't seem to comprehend the idea that the nation comes before him. And these are all obvious things. I honestly, Dennis, well put. They're trying to claim a high ground that they have not earned. Damn, you're good. Thank you, Ronald. I was wondering who's the KKK claims to be white Christian organization. I might also add that they burn crosses too. Just saying. Absolutely. That is the most obvious example. They are blatant. They will profess their racism out loud. They are shameless racists. And they will tell you in the next breath they are Christians. So there we go. Thank you. My mind's just so at other places, but absolutely. Stolen virtue. Very nice. See, the people who watch this live show make this live show because I learn more and get more interesting things to kind of put into my mind and let simmer. Thank you so much to everybody. So he doesn't comprehend the idea that it's not about him. And I think that's probably like a mental disorder, maybe. I don't know. It doesn't really matter at this point. I honestly don't even know where to start with him, but he's he's untreated, mentally ill. He's sheltered by his protectors who dare not ever disagree with him for fear he will sick his indoctrinated followers onto whoever dare question him. Sounds like a scary dictatorship. Well, it is. Trump's lack of professionalism and his narcissism and his con man agenda have shown us where the strong vulnerabilities lie in protecting our democracy from dictatorships, such as he kind of dreams of becoming. The bottom line is this, that many of the traditions of decency and integrity that we all kind of thought were laws weren't laws. So he's like, you know what a tester does for programs? They try to find if you're just a tester for like a program, you try to find the flaws in the program by just kind of, I'm a good tester because I don't know anything about technology. So I'll push buttons and I'll make it break, And I kind of look at him as the tester of our Constitution. I don't think anybody's ever challenged it and tried to circumvent it like he does. And I got to say, he's done a damn good job of that. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. The 20 norms, according to, of course, the Washington Post, that Trump has ignored and underlined. He's undermined them and stuff. So what's going on is this. The bottom line is that these traditions of decency and integrity turned out to be traditions and not the actual laws. So Trump circumvented the spirit of the Constitution at every turn. I'm hoping we can learn from his findings and use them to close the gaps in the hopes of, stopping any future wannabes, future wannabe people. And give me 1 second. 1 second. Boop. I'm still learning. 1 second. I can do this. And so here's the 20, and some of them are obvious, some of them aren't. I'll go through them really fast. Okay. Okay. Number 1, and this is huge, profiting from his official businesses. Oh my God, has he made millions? And I did a video on it, so I'm not going to get into it, but he's made millions. Not releasing his taxes, not a law, but obviously we want to know who. Oh, hang on a second, guys. Let me see. I guess a couple troll type people are coming on, and I'm going to ignore them because it kind of interrupts the whole flow of everything. So I'm just saying, try to ignore them, and I'm going to figure out how to kind of get rid of them, I guess you could say. I'm not really sure how, but I can figure it out. But so if you ignore them, that would be great for me, because I don't want to interrupt having to keep stopping and all that. But anyway, I'll just run through this list, and then I will probably say goodnight. I have a ton more stuff to talk to you guys about, but at this point it's getting late, and I'm extremely appreciative of the audience. Let me just really quickly, his personal profiting from official business. He's made millions. I did a thing on it. The video could have been hours because he's profited. Oh my God, has he profited? Not releasing his taxes. We need to know who he owes millions to. I think it's extremely important for a number of reasons that I won't get into. Refusing oversight by retaliating or firing people that dare to keep him in check. Interfering with the Department of Justice investigations. Trump tried to browbeat Jeff Sessions to reverse his recusal from the right. I mean, I could go on and on. I'm not going to give all the examples. Abused appointment by appointing people to power, put acting people in spots so that they didn't have to be confirmed by the Senate. Insulting allies and befriending authoritarians. Not sure what you can do about that, but all these things the gaps need to be filled in. And for the next president, they turned out to be things that a lot of us thought were laws that were just traditions, and that traditions can't be enforced. And Trump has figured a lot of these out, and he's circumvented the Constitution and used the judiciary to tie up things in litigation. So he's good at this. Insulting allies and befriending authoritarians, purposely creating adversity at every turn, using Twitter to spew hate, unfiltered words to the public, which is unprofessional, childlike, and kind of embarrassing. Politicizing the military. He says they're my generals, they're my troops. Deploying thousands of troops to the southern border when Congress didn't approve it. Trying to get funds. I could go on and on. Acting judges. Trump's openly challenged the legitimacy of our legal system, and it's very dangerous. He's called people so-called judges, and politicizing diplomacy and foreign policy. He uses his position to insult people and discredit people, and it's just crazy what he did with Marie Yovanovitch. It's just really bad. Undermining our intelligence agencies, publicizing lists of potential Supreme Court picks, making far more misleading comments than any president in the history of America, abusing his pardoning power. There's that. Using government resources for partisan ends, like Trump demanding that national parks produce photographic evidence that his inauguration crowd was larger than Obama's, using our tax money for that? Who cares? It's silly. It's an ego thing. Making racialized appeals and attacks. That's been just, even presidents who were severely overtly racist in the past have tried, at least in my lifetime, they've tried to pretend they weren't. So let me see what else. A couple more. Dividing the nation in times of crisis. Really, really tough thing. Really tough thing. Contradicting scientists. I personally didn't know you could contradict. I didn't know not believing in science was a thing. Yeah, I do. Thanks, Nails and Glitter. If you're up for it, otherwise we're just ignoring. Anyway, the last couple of things, contradicting scientists, did not know that was a thing, derailing the tradition of the presidential debate, and lastly, undermining the faith in our 2020 election results. This was done systematically over time and very much on purpose to set himself up to embolden his followers to be irrationally, irate based on complete lies. So, and I will continue next time. I'm going to probably make the rest of these crazy topics into some videos. Let me see if there are any real, not silly comments, because I feel like I'm skipping the real ones. And then I will say good night. And thank you so much for being here. If you feel like I do, that it's way past time for white folks to learn our own racial history and to take some racial responsibility and teach other folks. It's all about being human. We are all in the same race. We're all related. Deal with the pain. Learn your own racial history, and then go teach somebody about it. I apologize for all the people coming on being silly. I do this live stream every Wednesday, and I appreciate your support. If you think you might like to learn more, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. And you can also personal message me on my Facebook page, which is above in the comments. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. All right. And even the trolls, have a nice night. All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you for being here. And thanks for your wonderful comments. Hopefully I will see you next Wednesday. Dan, you're still here. Bye. Interesting talk. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. All right. Good night. You guys are silly. Bye, you guys. I can't wait to go back and read this stuff. Thanks, Nails and Glitter. Bye, John. You're wonderful. Thank you. That was interesting.